So I know this is not whataboutism, but every single
I
person.
love whataboutism.
Every single person I know who's gotten divorced has gotten divorced from a complete psychotic, narcissistic man.
Have you met all these men?
Yes.
Okay. Then
I know
they
the
should have been.
opposite. I know a man where his wife was a narcissist. And whatever he talks about is exactly what's happening to that man.
And that's the thing, though, is yes, at fault divorce. So if they truly are a psychotic narcissist, there's a thing called the MMPI-2, which is used in all child custody evaluations. It measures mental illness. You can't fake this thing. So my master's is clinical psychology, and I did both of my practicums at the Wisconsin Forensic Unit, where they actually eval Jeffrey Dahmer for eating people. So I know about, so that detects it and you can't fake it. So yes, that's at fault. I'm married to a psychotic person. Or you simply, and that's one of the things is people will argue, and I'm not bashing women, he did this and he did that and he did this and he did that. And then for like, not all of y'all, but for 5 hours a day, I'm doing this thing. You know what I do? I hit camera and I stand there while you're doing this thing to me. I don't even have to point it at you. I can hold it in my hand. And then I go over to the cop and I say, listen to this crap. He threatened to kill me. He put a gun in my face. He was screaming at me. Boom. Well, that's so much, they're scared to do that. Really, but you'll go to an attorney, spend potentially $100,000 across the course of this thing, get a restraining, you'll do all this stuff, but you can't make a 30-second phone call. And that's the thing I get, because a lot of it's simply not true. But in those cases, absolutely. But there's also whack job moms. I'm working with a father right now. The mom has destroyed, actually 2 of them, has utterly destroyed the child. One of them doesn't even have the child in her care. He has been living in Nebraska or wherever in a reform school for like 3 years rather than go live with the father. And it's not because the father's ever been charged with anything or ever done anything. She just doesn't want him to go live with the dad. And the kid said, I don't want to live with you anymore. She said, fine, I'm going to stick you in a reform school. And the judge won't, and that's the insanity of this, because the system is built to create this division, because me as an attorney, you just paid for my kids' college fund, you just bought my boathouse, you just plowed my boat, and you got the lake house that I'm going to staff the boathouse to. Literally, it is one of the most lucrative businesses in Texas. And it's an open secret. It is an open secret. When a judge does something and you ask your attorney, I need you to file a mandamus and a recusal, they'll say, oh, he didn't do anything. And then you pull up the law and you say, here, right here, the Texas Rules of Civil Procedure, blah, 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 18A, 18B. I'm not going to do that because I'm not going to ruin my career. But they broke the law. But they'll tell you, no one's going to do anything.
But isn't it better for kids to not be in that situation?
Which situation?
With the narcissistic.
No, I agree with you.
So like these outcomes, these poor outcomes, are those where people just don't want to be married anymore?
So this is a global thing. It's a global thing. So you're always going to have these slices. But one of the things in what the human mind does is often take something that's very rare and they see it everywhere. The vast majority, there is nothing. It's just, and then one side says, I'm going to fight for my kid because he's my son, and the other side, screw you. And then they've run up $250,000 bills for nothing more than they didn't agree on which street to live on, or he wanted to sleep with his secretary, or whatever it is. And if you're a cheater, that doesn't make you a bad parent. It makes you a scumbag, but it doesn't make you a bad parent. You see those, they don't have anything to do with each other. But that's an at-fault divorce. You just bring in the pictures of them out front kissing in the driveway late at night. You win the at-fault divorce, you get all the stuff, but the kid still gets both parents. Does that make sense? Because he might be a dirtbag, but he could still be a great father. But if he's a narcissist, really truly a narcissist, then you probably don't want him having too much access to the kid. Does that make sense? Because people equate, I hate you, you screwed me over, you slept with my best friend, you're a horrible parent. He might be the best damn dad in this city. He's just a crappy ass husband. They're two different things. And what that child needs is the dad. He doesn't need to know about the affair. But yeah, and that's the thing, is we don't measure parental ability when we do these quote unquote expert evaluations. And we actually have measures that do measure parental ability. Just nobody uses them because they're not trained in them. It takes over 2 years to get trained in it, but it's been around since 1982. Developed by someone named Mary May. It is the only thing that will measure adult attachment and give you insight into someone's ability to provide a safe, nurturing environment. Oh, by the way, I do those. But what we use is MMPI and say, well, they're not crazy, but I think I like you better. You should be the parent. You're at fault. You sent nasty text messages. Nasty text. Who has anybody gotten in an argument with a spouse before? Or you don't have to raise your hand. Have you ever said something that was maybe rude or downright cruel? You don't have to raise your hand. Have you ever? That exact thing can be taken into court and have you restricted from your child. Especially if you're a man. Again, I'm not bashing women, but that's the way it works. So the thing that is normal. Stop it! Quit leaning on the wall! That makes me so pissed off. Is the thing that will be called abuse, and you will not see your kid again. And it's like, but that happens in marriages, and I'm sure y'all don't. Y'all just look sweet. I'm sure y'all don't fight. But that's the stuff, and that's the insanity of it. And now this kid doesn't see it's his dad, or it's an every other weekend. Because honestly, an every other weekend is a visitor. Because if an every other weekend was actually a parent, grandparents would be parents. You know. Who thinks their school teacher is their kid's parent? The school teacher sees the kid 8 hours a day, and that's not a parent. Yet you're going to say dad for 2 days a month, 4 days a month as a parent? And that's the system, and we've known this for decades, but we've done nothing. But